You may have noticed I had not decorated my house for the end of the year season and festivities and stuff. It's because I had been pre-filming and I had totally forgotten that these videos were going to be up in December. So now you have a slightly modified background, and I'm pre-filming once again. So hello everyone, welcome back to my very small place on the internet where I share what happens in my knitting life. Today it's gonna be a video about my regular knitting adventures and the usual format for knitting recordings. I'm gonna be talking about what I've been working on and surprised cast on that is already a finished object. So first, what am I wearing? I'm wearing my Highland Thistle sweater by Caroline Hulbrook. The pattern was a gift by Amy Palco. I entered one of the contests on Instagram a long time ago, and I won the pattern and the small cocoon tree pouch. So this pattern is perfect. I used the Lenal West Fleur de Sel, the sports yarn weight, and this is the same dark color you have seen in my Barbara already. I love this sweater, which is overall lighter. It's a lighter sweater, but still a very, very warm sweater. I love the detail and the pattern. I love the fit. I made it a little snug, maybe a little too much. So if I ever need that pattern once again, I'll probably make a larger size or use a bigger yarn because I guess I've in it of gauge. And I'm quite warm today. It's very cold and very sunny and very bright outside, as you can see. We are on a weekend, and as I've said, I'm pre-filming again, and today I have to go out to run some errands. We are on a Saturday, so it's very bright and very cold outside, so I selected a little scarf that is made with some very dark plum, maybe if I put it in the sun that way, a very dark plum mohair from the Pyrenees. And I tried to get some more of this mohair, and the lady over there is out of any stock in that color, and I'm very warm. So I'm gonna take it out for the time of the recording, and I'm gonna put the shutters down a bit further down because I'm getting to be very warm. Okay, so I took the little scarf off. I was too warm. So this scarf, I had no pattern when I made it. It was me discovering Ravelry. I was just knitting that way, I guess. I guess it's all garter stitch. That's my guess from what I've seen. So from what I see, I did the scarf with, once again, some what remained from another project. I made a very cropped little cardigan that was open, no buttons, no nothing, very cropped and bell type of sleeves, and I'm using it with the little shawl pin that I got from the Pyrenees, from an artist over there, a crafter over there, and Ramses is coming. Are you coming with us? So yes, I'm gonna put it aside and I'm gonna take it on again once I go out. So first, a finished object that I have not been talking about casting on. I had been talking about casting on when I was talking about all my misadventures with my yarn colors for my Sorrel. But I had not said I was going to cast on that soon. Thing is, last week I was away for 3 days and I had on either side of my travel an 8-hour train trip. I went to Toulouse to the PhD defense of my second son. So in the train, I had decided it was not 8 hours straight for the train. I had 1 hour layover in Paris, but I had to run from one station to the other. So it was about 6.5 to 7 hours in the train. And I had decided I was going to finish my powder puff Cowl that is languishing and waiting for me, crying in its little bag, saying, "Knit me, knit me, knit me." And I kind of focused on two other things. So on the way in, I knit only on the powder puff Cowl. I knit all the time. And I need 4 repeats. It's not a difficult pattern, but you have to be quite focused. So I took breaks and stuff like that. 4 repeats. I guess I still have at least 8 to go. So I was a bit discouraged, thinking this is only what I've been able to be knitting. You'll show how it is. I will show it to you at some point today. So I had brought with me, you may remember, that Romney yarn from Atelier Pure Laine. Maybe if I put it here, you can see this one is darker than this one, because if you have seen my previous videos, when I was mixing the Biche Petit Silk Mohair in dark blue turquoise with the Romney, I did not like the way it looked. I guess I discovered, had I thought of it, maybe I would have guessed, that you can't mix light yarn with a dark mohair, or I guess the other way around would be true too, or maybe the light mohair you would see the strands too. But if you mix the two, it's more of a marled effect, and if the two colors are too contrasty, it's more of a marled effect. And I could see the strands in my fabric, and I did not like them. So, long story short, I ripped out and knit and ripped out again and knit again to the final options that I'm currently knitting on. So when I ripped out, I discovered that, and so I sort of was expecting that. If you are in front of the camera, that won't work. What do you want? You want to come on my knees and show your butt to everyone? So I discovered that the one that had been in contact with the mohair was greener and darker than the one that had not, that was left in the skein. So I decided to take out all of the darker and greener part. And there was about 100 grams. So I caked up another 100 grams to knit the Stries hat in La Bien-Aimé's neon and neutral looks that way, so that it's not completely shining you out, blending you out. So I had decided to do that. So I had the pattern with me. I had the 100 and 100 grams caked up, the 2 balls, and I had the mohair, and I said, okay, if I finish the powder puff Cowl, I may cast that one on. I did not bring any of my sweaters. I wanted to travel very light because changing stations in Paris, I think it's kind of a pain. You arrive from Normandy in Saint-Lazare, so that's the complete west of Paris. You go to Montparnasse, that is more in the south. So of course there is a direct line, that's fine, but when you arrive, it's rush hour, many people. I don't want to be running after my bags, taking care of or watching my bags so that nobody gets to them or anything. So I said, okay, I travel very light and I bring only 2 light projects, the Cowl and the beanie. And I'm allowing myself to cast on the beanie once I've finished the Cowl. When I arrived in Toulouse, I was bit disappointed because I was thinking, if I'm not finishing the beanie during the cowl during my stay in Toulouse, I won't be able to knit the beanie on my way back. So, and I was kind of itching to be casting on. So I decided, okay, 4 repeats is already 4 repeats that are made, and I'm progressing. So on my second son's graduation, on the day of his graduation, on the evening, I casted on the Stries or Stries hat. So I did what I had planned. So I said, okay, I cast on in Toulouse on the day, the graduation day. That's going to be his graduation day cast on. So I cast on with marling the dark mohair with the 2 strands of the, did I say Romney? It was the Romney yarn from Atelier Pure Laine. And then in the beanie at the bottom you knit with the mohair, and then you move to only 2 strands of yarn at the tip of the beanie. So I was thinking, if the 2 together are marled with the mohair and together marled at the top of the beanie, nobody's gonna see that it's a different color. So it worked. So I cast it on as a way to mark or celebrate his graduation. I will be talking about later on in my life update what happened and how proud I am of him. Anyway, back to the beanie. So I finished it. I almost knit all of it on my way back. So that was a 7 hours knitting. I still had a centimeter, half an inch to finish before the decreases, and then I decreased and I cast it off the next day. So it really took me maybe 6 hours of knitting, because at some point I had my lunch. So you start with the 2 yarn together, or I guess you can use just the correct yarn weight, but in the pattern you have 2 different colored yarn, and I guess you can see that the marled one, the marled effect one, you can see it's a bit darker than the regular Romney. And so I cast it on with the mohair at the bottom, where you can see also, you can see the strands, but I'm not that fussed about it because 1, I was expecting it, and 2, it's okay because it's all the same. And then I moved to only the 2 yarn without the mohair, and then you finish at the crown, and I guess it's that type of or condom or whatever. Maybe I will have to beep that out. Top tip, I'm not sure I like it that much. I haven't blocked it. I have weaved on my ends in, and I did not. I wanted to talk about it before I block it, because I guess it's gonna be taking some time to dry out. And I like it very much. I like these big brims. And I'm trying to push that down because I don't like much when it is too pointy that way. And I like these bigger brims. I love the way it is, and if I want less of a tip, I can move up the brim, and you have the special pattern here that is very nice. I like this ridge very much, and the yarn being very sturdy and stiff and holding onto itself, it's very warm first. And if I want to have, you see, a bigger crown, I guess it holds onto itself quite easily. You see, it holds onto itself very easily. And I like this type of beanie. I need to, as it's so reversed, I need to arrange it so that the strides, the ridges are aligned. Anyway, that should do it. That should be okay. So yeah, I'm very happy with it's very warm. I'm warm. I'm so warm. It's very warm and I like it much. And I may do other ones with other type of yarn because it's a very easy pattern. It's a very easy stitch motif. The way the crown decreases are it's beautiful. It's easy to make. No fuss, no problem, no questions, and you can wear it several different ways. So I'm very happy with it. I have about 10, I guess I have 12 grams left on this ball and 18 on that one. So I need to do some other things, and I guess I have 10 grams of mohair, which is quite some yardage yet because it's silk mohair. It's very fine mohair. So yeah, I have a bit of mohair left to go onto my sorrel, which is the one I'm going to be talking about as it's with the same yarn. So next, my sorrel. I've been working on it, and you may recall I had many, and I will attach around here or link down below the video where I talk about all the misery I had. Anyway, you may recall I changed from the acid lime green mohair that is from Australia. Rosemary sent it to me, and I had planned to go to dark blue turquoise by Bishop Bush, and it did not work out. At least I did not like it. Someone said, I'm not sure I recall, that it would be better that I have the whole same color all throughout, not fading the mohair. I do agree with that, but I don't have enough of the green, and I don't even have enough of the blue, I guess, to finish the whole sweater. So I'm bound to marl and fade the mohair. So far, this is how it is. Maybe I should show you the back, because you have a bit more of the blue with the short rows, and I think it's okay. At least there is not that big difference between the dark greener blue, dark blue turquoise mohair and the light green, because here you don't have the feeling to see the strands, and with the light cyan you don't have the feeling either. So you see, it's much better in my opinion. The fade is really progressive. I had ripped out enough so that I have enough of the green to do all the fade repeats. I don't think it would have changed anything with the dark green. I would not have liked it. So the fade is complete, and maybe minus one row. And so I separated for the sleeves again, and I'm knitting on it. And I stopped knitting because when I was going to Toulouse, I did not want to bring a cone of Romney with me, and I did not want to cake up some yarn, so whatever. So I left it where it was, and now I'm just knitting on it, and I'm much more happy with the way it looks now. So now to see for how long I can knit with the light cyan. It's wagtail mohair once again from Australia, and the gift from Rosemary. So I have calculated, and I don't have my calculations here, how much mohair I need for 10 rows. So 10 rows, that means that many stitches total, and how much I will need for the sleeves and for the fading at the beginning of the sleeves and for the sleeves. And I think I have said when I did the calculations, I had another 20 rows to go. I've knit some, so I'm not yet to be fading again, to save enough of the light cyan to knit the sleeves. And I will see how far I am and how much further down I need to go and decide if I will knit with the rest with the white or if I will finish the powder puff cowl and move to the variegated cyan, because with the variegated cyan I had 100 grams, and even if I'm knitting the cowl, all of the cowl, there will be more than 50 grams left, or about 50 grams left, so I will have enough to finish it. So there are two options. I haven't decided yet what I was going to be doing, and we'll see where I end up with the blue. I think it would be better to go to an even lighter cyan than just plain white, but we'll see. I had also asked what you were thinking about me finishing the sleeves and the bottom of the sweater the same way I had cast it on, because in my original plan the bottom of the sweater was going to be dark, and if I could just finish with the same way, the same one row before casting off. And then you said that it would be some of you said it would be a nice way to tie up the sweater all together and finishing with the darker part. So I guess this is what I am going to be doing. So this one for now, it's just a matter of knitting, finding the time to knit. There is no difficulty other than the one to calculate where I need to stop using the light cyan and fade into something else. And I had not said, but I guess you've seen it written on the screen, the Sorrel is by Woolen Pine. So to continue on to the wagtail mohair that Rosemary sent me, I put little bells when I travel onto my bags. I just forgot to take this one out, so that if someone looks into my bags or in my backpack and stuff like, and I'm not aware, if they find a bell, it's gonna make some noise, and hopefully it's gonna have them remove their hands. So that's the instructions. So the powder puff cowl. You see, this was a 100-gram bowl, and I still have plenty, and I think I would like to move to finishing the Sorrel with the variegated cyan. Maybe it's gonna be deeper cyan than the light cyan, so I have to see right next to each other. If you give me a minute, I'm gonna retrieve the cyan from the Sorrel. Okay, well, yeah, the variegated cyan, this one is a bit darker. So I had not checked, and I may use the white to finish the Sorrel, because I don't want to be seeing the threads all throughout. So we'll see. So anyway, I'm not far from being finished. Let me count. Okay, so I'm on the 20th repeat, and there are 24 22. I just have 2 more rounds, 2 more repeats. Good. So not 7 hours, but maybe 3.5 hours. Good news. Anyway, so I've knit quite a bit on that. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of knitting time. It's not difficult, but it's a pattern you have to be focused, because even though if you make mistakes, it's gonna be difficult to see. So it's a very forgiving pattern, a very forgiving yarn. So yeah, that's one point. But it takes a lot of time to be making one repeat. The number of stitches is quite big. I have the pattern memorized now, but what is making it difficult to me is that, so I have placed stitch markers for on either side of each repeat, so that's fine. But I need to count every stitches in my head so that I know that I'm not making any mistakes. So that's a bit complicated. So I made 4 repeats in the train. That was good. So you see, I was on the last third, I guess, or quarter. And I know I will love it very much. You see there is a little ridge edge, so it's going to be the same little ridge edge at the bottom. The cowl is going to be quite long, and I'm going to block it out. This is why I'm trying to show how it's going to be once it blocks out, so you will see the pattern here. And it's going to be very flowy, very light, very warm, as Mohair is, and a very beautiful color that I love and I know that fits me. So yeah, I need some knitting time, and I need to power through finishing it so that I can move to something else with the variegated cyan. Maybe not on the Sorrel though. Please tell me what you think. Do you think that the difference between, where is it now? It's gone. The difference between the light cyan and the variegated cyan is going to be too intense, so that, yeah, I think this one is much lighter, so the overall feeling is going to be a darker green overall, or a more intense color. This one is very subtle. I guess I should move to the white and not to the variegated cyan. It's going to be much deeper. And please tell me if you're seeing the same thing as I'm seeing, and I thank you in advance. I do love when we talk about options in the comment section. Okay, next and final project, that's gonna be the last one I'm gonna be talking about, because it's the last project I'm working on, my dusking. So I think I was stealing the 3 strands, knitting with 3 strands when last on the sleeve. Last time I talked about it. I've moved to knitting on 2 strands, and I still have a little bit to go before I move knitting on 1 strand. So I haven't knit much on it. It's just because I have been doing some traveling, but this one also is quite easy going. I need to be careful about how many rows I'm knitting so that I can first be with the correct sections for the sheerness, and second, so that I can make the second sleeve exactly the same. I am used to writing down everything that I'm doing. My book is almost full, and I think my eldest son is gonna offer me another one for the end of the year. Anyway, this one is just a matter of knitting on it. It's not difficult, just watching what I'm doing. And I guess you can see that I have another set of cords that I bought, and I forgot to take the whole bobbin with me. Okay, when I was trying to remove the mohair from my lips, I went to get my boxes. So I bought, I can digress a bit if you don't mind. I bought the knitting barber cords after everyone else and their mothers were using them. I bought them the regular price. I'm not quite sure I recall. I guess I bought them with another order I made long time ago at, I think it's Miley's, or I will write down again the name of the shop in Germany. I bought some Dererum Natura yarn, and I think I bought them at the same time. So the knitting barber cords are silicone tubing that is, there is a little hole in the middle, and that little hole, maybe I'm too close, in that little hole you can stick the tip of a needle into it, and then use it to put stitches on hold, or to try on a sweater as you are knitting it, if it's top down, for example, and without removing the cord or connecting 2 cords. Anyway, that's the first time I was knitting 2 sweaters at a time. I'm not used to doing that. I usually knit a sweater and an accessory, so I did not run out of barber cords for all that time, maybe several years, or at least 2 years. And at this time I was in need of new barber cords, because my sleeves, my sleeve here is on hold on the larger one. There are 3 cords in a box, 2 smaller ones, and I'm not sure I recall the dimensions. 2 smaller ones, 75 centimeters, so it's 30 inches, 2 of them, and 1 longer one, 150 centimeters, that's 60 inches. So 3 cords, quite expensive for what it is, I agree, and quite useful. So I was not sorry about the price I paid. But I had seen people talking about other type of cords that were exactly the same. So I measured my barber cords, and as you can see here, I had to put these ones on hold too because I needed the needles. I bought some other silicone tubing that is exactly the same. So what I looked for on any online worldwide web shop that you can find everywhere, I looked for silicone tubing with 2 millimeters, a diameter of 2 millimeters and 1 millimeter for the hole. And search for silicone, because silicone is what is gonna be sticking to the needle. Even though you have to be very careful when you move your needles onto the cords or back to the needle, because if you pull a bit too strongly on the cord, it's gonna most probably be able to disconnect from the needle, and then you're going to be having stitches that are not on the cord and not on the needle. It happened several times to me, and no, I'm very, very careful. And silicone is gonna be sticking to the needle, whatever if it's a wooden needle, a bamboo needle with some kind of varnish on the top, or a metal needle. Anyway, I looked for the exact same dimensions in silicone, and I found, I'm not sure how many hundreds of meters, I think it's 50 meters here for the price of the 3 barber cords. Just saying, if you prefer, of course, you don't buy the little box. Once you buy a full tub of that, yeah, I kind of cut at the approximative dimensions as the barber cords, and I'm just very happy. It absolutely behaves the same. At first it did not, because it sat in my mailbox for a day and a night, because I was away for some other reasons. And so once it went back to room temperature the next day, it's exactly the same feeling as the barber cords. Just saying, do whatever you want. I'm not mad about the price I paid, because you have the little tin box and whatever. But now that I have the little tin box, and I have other tin boxes that I buy some tea in, the small ones with small quantities of tea, and I can put anything in there. And I chose a very bright color so that it's quite visible on the garments I knit. So now to finish the first sleeve and to reproduce on the second one, and I will have to be going to hunt for buttons. So this is one of the errands I need to be doing once I'm taking some time off during the end of the year. I need to find buttons for this beautiful sweater. And once again, I think I did not say the name of the pattern and the designer. It's the Dusking sweater that is in the Cosmology Dharma collection book by Amirisu. It's Kayomi Bergin who designed the sweater. And I will be talking into my next video. I received the books from the Pom Pom magazine order I had placed. Not the magazines, but the books. And I had not realized that there is another book a full complete book that she designed with her sister. So that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna be moving into my life updates. If you are not interested into life updates, I thank you very, very much for watching this episode, for doing all the YouTube goodness that is associated with every person who makes video on YouTube or releases audio podcast on YouTube podcast, YouTube Music, or Apple Podcasts. So please do all the usual stuff that helps the channel. I thank you very, very much for spending that time. I do hope you have a very nice end of the year if my next video is of not much interest to you, and that you are embracing the spirit of this end of the year for some part of the world. So in my life updates, the biggest updates was that I went to Toulouse for my second son's Theo graduation. He defended his PhD on December 13th, and it was very emotional for me. I'm still emotional thinking of it. My first son has a master's degree in law, and a PhD is not a requirement at all in this type of field. You can have a PhD in law. Other than doing some research in law, it's not what is important to be working as a lawyer or in a company or whatever. In science, having a PhD makes a big difference. And my youngest son, who is in musicology, it's a mix of things. He's also finishing his master's degree. He says that next year he wants to go to a specific private school for electronic arts, and quite expensive. So we have to be talking about. Anyway, Theo defended his PhD last Wednesday, and I'm going to be taking the time to read the title of his PhD because I really don't understand much of it. If anything, I can read the words. And his PhD is argumentation, logic, and explainability. If some of you are in the artificial intelligence field, in computer science, in mathematics, you may understand what he's doing. I do not. He tried to explain it to me with simple words, and I think what he's doing is he's way, way, way below what we see with artificial intelligence applications like ChatGPT and others. He's on the level where the artificial intelligence, the process, has eaten a lot of data and has to give them back to you according to whatever question you are asking about this whole huge amount of data. And it can be like ChatGPT for some creation names or whatever, or it can be, for example, in the law field, an application that will eat all the law articles, all the history, all whatever has been decided in every situation, and then you ask the question, what do I do in that very type of situation? The way the artificial intelligence is selecting things is based on conflicts. And what he's been doing is discovering or making up or writing new paradigms or new other algorithm that will give a visual representation of all the conflicts and the better solution. So that anyone without any knowledge of the field is able to see which is the best solution or the best set of solutions and why. That's quite something. I don't understand any of it. I was very, very moved and proud of him. He defended in English because one of his referee member, his committee member, was from Austria, I think, Austria, and he was not speaking in French. So the whole PhD thesis, the whole paperwork, and his defense was in English. But he's quite fluent in English, so that was not a problem to him. He was very stressed out the day before. I arrived one day before, and my last son arrived also that day in the evening, so we had dinner all together. My first son could not take a day off of his work. That was just not possible. So he was allowed to work from home and follow his brother's defense on Zoom, in a Zoom meeting online. So he was there even though he was not physically there with us. And so my youngest son was here too. So we tried to entertain Theo the night before because he was extremely tensed, extremely stressed out, which I understand. I'm not saying, yeah, he was very, very stressed out. He did not sleep much. So we cheered him up and the best we could. And we went together. His defense was around 10 o'clock, I think. And they all finished around noon, maybe something like that. It was a very moving ceremony at the end. So they went to have lunch all together, the committee and Theo went to have lunch. So I went to have lunch with Paulin on campus. And Paulin had decided he was going back to Rennes that very same day. So he left before he could see Theo again after the lunch. And so he went back to Rennes and I stayed that afternoon with Theo. So there was a little gathering in the afternoon with his friends, his fellow PhD students and from the lab and other labs around. And so we had a little gathering there. And then we went back home, to his home. And he said he had arranged to spend the evening with some of his other friends who could not really attend the PhD defense because they were working. So I said, okay, if you are going out with your friends, it's fine, but I won't go out, I'm too tired. And he said, well, they have agreed you come with us and everything. So I said, no, don't worry about me, I'll stay home. And in the end, everybody stayed home because they had brought things to eat and drink and whatever, and pizzas and cakes and things like that. And Theo had a lot of leftovers from his little gathering, so we drank some champagne and everything. And as his friends were all working the next morning, nobody wanted to go out and be quite while celebrating. So I guess it's for this weekend that Theo is having a more open and a bigger party with his friends, so that everybody can sleep the next day. So it was very moving. It was such an achievement for him. He completed his PhD in 3 years. That's the usual requirement in France. And he did not need any additional time. He did not need anything. So he's currently, since this September, so he was a PhD student with a salary for the 3 years. And since this September, he's teaching and doing research as an associate. It's a temporary position that he can have for 1 year, and it can be renewed for another year. But he said he wanted to go to see other things. So either work for a private company that would be interested into applying what he's been developing in his PhD, or doing going for a postdoc, and he applied to the lab where one of his referees and from the committee was in Vienna, in Austria. So either way, it's going to be fine. I'm not too worried about him because all of his skills are very much looked for right now. I just hope that he will find something that suits him and that will make him happy. The other thing is also why I'm going to be pre-filming the video that is going to be up on the 22nd. I think it's going to be the Friday, and also the next Friday, the 29th, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe my dates are not correct, because on the 29th I'm going to be... No, on the 22nd, we are going to go get my mother. So I'm driving down to Rennes. So the day this video will be up anyway, the next Friday. I'm going to Rennes, and once the video is up, I will be there, and I will probably even be at my mother's, and we're going back. So I'm going to go get my youngest son and my mother, and we come back home. It's going to be a very long road trip, but I can do it in a day, so we can be back home by the time this video is up. But I won't have enough time other than scheduling and editing the video this week and scheduling it. The week after, we're going to be all home. My sons, their girlfriends, my mother. So I don't want to be filming when everyone is home. So I will also be pre-filming for the next video, and it's going to be a video about my yarn by year, because Theo got me some yarn in Toulouse for my birthday, because he had no time to think about it, and I really did not mind at all. I knew he had better things to do. And Laine Paysanne, which I've been following and I've been interacting with them, and when I was buying yarn online, I did buy yarn already from them. Laine Paysanne was having a pop-up in Toulouse, and I think it was until either yesterday or today. So there were maybe only 3-4 days left before they closed. They had been open for several weeks already. So we went there, and there was not much yarn left, and so I got a sweater's quantity, and he said, okay, that's going to be your birthday present. So another sweater quantity that I'm going to be having to be talking about next week. And in the meantime, I'm hoping that the end of season, I'm especially thinking about people who are not celebrating because they are alone. If you are not celebrating because the end of the year and Christmas and stuff is not your thing, just fine, it's your choice. Christmas is not too much of my thing, but I do celebrate. It's in the habit, it's in the country everywhere. So I'm following the flow with the Christmas celebration and the end of the year celebration, even though I don't have a religious approach to the end of the year. So this is why maybe we can talk about the holiday season or the end of the year season. And I will be really thinking about people who are alone at that time of year where everyone is celebrating. And I'll be placing my joy and happiness into my stitches, especially for you. Of course, to everyone else also, because I very much appreciate seeing you in the comment section, seeing you talking about the videos and stuff, and having new people come along and new people watching the videos and subscribing. Because I'm not doing this for myself. I know I'm talking alone in my house with my cat and a camera and a microphone and some lights and a computer to record everything. So I know that I'm doing this alone, but I'm also doing it for other people. this is of some interest to you, and I do thank you very much for being present into my life. And I appreciate very much that side of the social media. You being into my life, me being into yours, me bringing you some food for thoughts and things you can do for yourself. Someone commented, "Oh, I like last time you had knit a cawl with the remaining of the yarn from the sweater and you have a matching cawl." Yeah, and I did knit that cawl on in one piece flat and seam it. I did not know at the time we could Kitchener or we could knit in the round. I would do differently now, but yeah, I like to be doing this and have a matching cawl or a matching hood to a sweater. So yeah, that was a good idea for one of you, and if it's a good idea for one of you, it totally justifies what I'm doing here, enjoying also, I enjoy recording. I enjoy editing a bit less, I have to be honest, but I enjoy recording and talking about my stuff and talking with you in the comment sections. So of all the videos and everywhere else of the podcast, of the audio podcast. So yeah, I thank you very, very much for being here with me. I'm sending all my little stitches to you for this end of the year, and I do hope I will see you next time.